Brought to you by WWF Documentaries. The Undertaker. Mark William Calaway, better known by the ring name The Undertaker, is an American retired professional wrestler signed to WWE. Calaway began his wrestling career with World Class Championship Wrestling in 1984. After wrestling for World Championship Wrestling as Mean Mark Callous from 1989 to 1990, he signed with the then World Wrestling Federation in 1990, making him the company's longest tenured in-ring performer. Calaway is considered to be one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. As The Undertaker, Calaway's gimmick was a horror-themed, macabre entity who employed scare tactics and held links to the supernatural. The character was reinvented as a biker during a period in the early 2000s before returning to his previous gimmick in 2004.
The Undertaker was the storyline older half-brother of fellow WWE wrestler Kane, with whom he has alternately feuded and teamed with as the Brothers of Destruction. The Undertaker has been involved in various pivotal storylines and matches within WWE history. The Undertaker was also known for the streak, an unprecedented run of 21 straight victories at WWE's leading pay-per-view event, WrestleMania, before he sustained his first loss at WrestleMania XXX to Brock Lesnar. Prior to his WWE career, he also held the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Championship once and, since unseating Hulk Hogan as WWF Champion in 1991, he has won the WWF WWE Championship 4 times, and the WWE's World Heavyweight Championship 3 times. He also won the 2007 Royal Rumble. The Undertaker has main evented 69 pay-per-view events, more than anyone in WWE history. Early life. Calaway was born in Houston, Texas, the son of Frank Compton Calaway and Betty Catherine Truby. He has 4 older brothers, David, Michael, Paul, and Timothy. Calaway attended Waltrip High School, where he was a member of the football and basketball teams. He graduated in 1983 and began studying at Angelina College in Lufkin, Texas on a basketball scholarship. In 1985, he enrolled in Texas Wesleyan University in Fort Worth, Texas, where he majored in sport management and played basketball for the Rams in the 1985-1986 season as a center. In 1986, Calaway dropped out of university to focus on a career in sports, and he briefly considered playing professional basketball in Europe before deciding to focus on professional wrestling. Early career 1984-1990. Calaway made his debut in 1984 for World Class Championship Wrestling under the ring name Texas Red. His first match was a loss against Bruiser Brody. In 1988, after 4 years in the promotion, he left and joined the Continental Wrestling Association, wrestling under several gimmicks. On February 2, 1989, managed by Dutch Mantle, he debuted as the Master of Pain, a character fresh out of the United States Penitentiary, Atlanta, after serving 5 years for killing 2 men in a fight. After his second match the next week, he stayed in the ring by challenging USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion Jerry Lawler to an impromptu match. The Master of Pain easily dominated Lawler until Mantle entered the ring and called him off. Lawler agreed to a title match which was held on April 1. When the Master of Pain won his first professional wrestling championship, he held it for just over 3 weeks before Lawler became the first man to pin him, winning it back
while performing as the Punisher. Calaway won the WCWA Texas Heavyweight Championship on October 5, 1989, when Eric Embry forfeited the title.
World Championship Wrestling, 19,891,990. In 1989, Calaway joined World Championship Wrestling as a villain and adopted the ring name Mean Mark Callous, a name devised for him by Terry Funk.
He was portrayed as a morbid character. He wore predominantly black ring attire and was described by announcer Jim Ross as having a fondness for pet snakes and the music of Ozzy Osbourne. Callous was promptly drafted into the Skyscrapers tag team to replace a legitimate injured Sid Vicious, and he made his debut on January 3, 1990 in a match later televised against Agent Steel and Randy Harris.
The new team gained some notoriety at Clash of the Champions X, when they beat down the Road Warriors after the match. However, Callous' partner Dan Spivey left WCW days before their Chicago street fight against the Road Warriors at Wrestle War. Callous and a replacement masked Skyscraper were defeated in the street fight, and the team broke up soon afterwards. Callous took on the guidance of Paulie Dangerously, and defeated Johnny Ace at Capital Combat and defeated Brian Pillman at the Clash of the Champions Coastal Crush in singles competition. In July 1990, he wrestled against Lex Luger for the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship at the Great American Bash, but was pinned by Luger. According to an interview with Bruce Pritchard on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, Episode 14, feelers had already been sent out to the WWF that month for Calaway by Paul Heyman.
Calaway wrestled the match with a dislocated hip, knowing that he was being watched by Vince McMahon. McMahon initially did not express interest, but Pritchard encouraged him to speak with Calaway when WCW traveled to New Jersey for a house show in the Meadowlands on August 24. The meeting between the two went well, and he gave notice to WCW on August 27. His final match was on September 7, at a worldwide taping in Amarillo, Texas, in which he defeated Dave Johnson.
During his time in WCW, Calaway briefly wrestled in New Japan Pro Wrestling as Punisher Dice Morgan. After leaving WCW, he briefly returned to the USWA to participate in a tournament to determine the new USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Bill Dundee in the first round but losing to Jerry Lawler in the quarterfinals.
In October 1990, he signed with the World Wrestling Federation.
Western Mortician, 1990-1991. Calaway made his WWF debut as Kane the Undertaker at a taping of Superstars on November 19, 1990. The original Deadman character depicted him as a Western mortician dressed in a trench coat, grey striped tie, black Stetson hat with black gloves and grey boot spats.
He was portrayed as impervious to pain, something accomplished by Calaway not selling his opponent's attacks. Calaway made his official on-camera debut on November 22 at Survivor Series as a villainous character, when he was the mystery partner of Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Team.
Approximately 1 minute into the match, The Undertaker eliminated Koko B. Ware with his finisher, the Tombstone Piledriver. He also eliminated Dusty Rhodes before being counted out. However, his team won the match with DiBiase being the sole survivor. During the match, Calaway was referred to as The Undertaker, omitting the name Kane, which was dropped shortly after the event.
At the same time, The Undertaker switched managers from Brother Love to pallbearer, a histrionic, ghostly character, almost always seen bearing an urn, which he used to revive The Undertaker's strength whenever Undertaker fell victim to his antagonists. Undertaker placed his defeated opponents in a body bag and carried them to the back.
Throughout the end of 1990, The Undertaker mostly picked up squash victories against jobbers on Superstars of Wrestling and Wrestling Challenge tapings. He was a participant in the 1991 Royal Rumble match, which was won by Hulk Hogan. He continued picking up victories in squash matches leading up to his first feud in the WWF with Superfly Jimmy Snuka. WWF Champion, 1991-1994. On March 15, he defeated Tugboat by pinfall after a tombstone piledriver on the much larger man. He made his WrestleMania debut at WrestleMania 7, quickly defeating Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He began his first major feud with the Ultimate Warrior, when he attacked Warrior and locked him in an airtight casket on the set of Paul Bearer's funeral parlor interview segment.
He would later lose to Warrior in the first ever body bag challenge in WWF history. At King of the Ring 1991, Undertaker defeated Animal in a qualifying match before fighting Sid Vicious to a double disqualification in the semi-final, which saw both men eliminated from the King of the Ring tournament. At his next pay-per-view appearance, The Undertaker defeated Jim Duggan. Shortly after, he was announced as the #1 contender for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. The Undertaker defeated Hulk Hogan to win his first WWF Championship at Survivor Series with the help of Ric Flair, and thus became the youngest WWF Champion in history until having this record broken by Yokozuna in April 1993 at WrestleMania IX. WWF President Jack Tunney ordered a rematch for this Tuesday in Texas 6 days later, where he lost the title back to Hogan. However, due to the controversial ends to the two title matches between The Undertaker and Hogan, the title was vacated by Tunney. The title was awarded to Ric Flair as the winner of the 1992 Royal Rumble match. In February 1992, The Undertaker's ally Jake the Snake Roberts tried to attack Macho Man Randy Savage's manager, wife Miss Elizabeth, with a steel chair when Undertaker stopped him, becoming a fan favorite for the first time.
The turn was solidified on the February 29 episode of Superstars, when Roberts confronted The Undertaker on the funeral parlor set over that incident. After demanding to know whose side The Undertaker was on and getting the reply, "Not yours," Roberts attacked both Bearer and The Undertaker, only for Undertaker to stand his ground and run Roberts off. The Undertaker defeated Roberts at WrestleMania 8. He then feuded extensively with wrestlers managed by Harvey Whippleman throughout 1992 and 1993. Such as Kamala and Giant Gonzalez. Also in this time, he headlined the first episode of Monday Night Raw on January 11, 1993 with a victory over Damien Demento. He faced Gonzalez at WrestleMania IX, which is notable as Undertaker's only disqualification win at WrestleMania after the use of chloroform. His rivalry with Yokozuna culminated in a WWF Championship casket match at the Royal Rumble in January 1994. During the match, champion Yokozuna sealed The Undertaker in the casket, with the assistance of several other villainous Whippleman-managed wrestlers to win the match. The Undertaker appeared from inside the casket on the video screen, representing his spirit, warning that he would return. The Undertaker did not appear in the WWF for 7 months after his loss to Yokozuna. In reality, he was given time off
to allow a back injury to heal. The original Deadman Era, 1994-1996. During his absence, the WWF promoted his return by showing video clips of people who claimed to have seen The Undertaker. After WrestleMania X, Ted DiBiase introduced an Undertaker back to the WWF. This Undertaker, however, played by Calaway's real-life cousin, Brian Lee, was an imposter Undertaker and led to the return of the real Undertaker in the SummerSlam main event, appearing as a new version of his Deadman persona, represented now by cool colors, and replacing gray with purple.
The Undertaker defeated the imposter after 3 tombstone pile drivers. At Survivor Series, The Undertaker defeated Yokozuna in a casket match rematch. Throughout most of 1995, Undertaker feuded with members of Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Corporation. At WrestleMania XI, while The Undertaker was facing King Kong Bundy, Karma stole the urn and antagonized him by melting it into a large gold necklace. In August, Undertaker defeated Karma in a casket match at SummerSlam. Several weeks later, Undertaker injured his orbital bone near his eye, forcing a period of absence for surgery, until his return at Survivor Series.
The Undertaker returned in November at Survivor Series, wearing a Phantom of the Opera-like grey upper face mask. In the main event of the Royal Rumble in January 1996, The Undertaker was unmasked in a WWF Championship match against Bret Hart, but Diesel interfered during the match, costing The Undertaker the championship. A rematch for the title on the February 5 episode of Raw saw similar interference.
At That Month's In Your House, Rage in the Cage, while Diesel was facing Hart in a steel cage match, The Undertaker delivered a surprise attack, emerging from a hole he had ripped through the ring canvas and dragging Diesel with him down under, allowing Hart the victory. After several weeks of more tit-for-tat between Diesel and The Undertaker, the feud culminated in a singles match between the two at WrestleMania 12, where Undertaker was victorious.
The Undertaker's next feud started the next night on Raw, when Mankind made his debut and interfered in Undertaker's match against Justin "Hawk" Bradshaw. For the next few months, Mankind ambushed and cost The Undertaker several matches. The feud intensified, and they began taking their battles into crowds, backstage areas, and in the boiler rooms of different arenas.
Mankind cost The Undertaker the WWF Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship at In Your House 8, Beware of Dog, assisting champion Goldust to victory. As a result, the first ever boiler room brawl was booked between the two at SummerSlam. During the match, when Undertaker reached for Paul Bearer's urn, Bearer hit him with it, betraying The Undertaker and allowing Mankind to incapacitate him with the mandible claw, giving him the win.
After Bearer's betrayal, The Undertaker took his rivalry with Mankind to a new level, resulting in a Buried Alive match in the main event of In Your House 11, Buried Alive, where The Undertaker won the match after a chokeslam into the open grave. However, after interference from the Executioner, as well as the help of several other wrestlers, The Undertaker was ultimately buried alive. Lord of Darkness, 1996-1998. After being buried alive, The Undertaker returned at the Survivor Series, again pitting him against Mankind, but with a unique stipulation. Hanging above the ring was Paul Bearer, enclosed in a steel cage. If Undertaker won the match, he would be able to get his hands on Bearer. Even though The Undertaker won the match, interference from the Executioner enabled Bearer to escape Undertaker's clutches. It was also at this event that Undertaker had developed a more informal, casual, Deadman incarnation than before. In this then new form, he took on a gothic, brash, and rebelling persona under the impression that Kane was fully related to him and his family.
It was during this time that The Undertaker also made an appearance in Michinoku Pro Wrestling, defeating Hakushi in a singles match. Concurrent to the deep, dark secret storyline directed by Bearer, Undertaker began a new rivalry at SummerSlam, when guest referee Shawn Michaels accidentally hit The Undertaker with a steel chair shot meant for Bret Hart, costing Undertaker the WWF Championship. After a double count-out draw during Ground Zero, in Your House, Undertaker challenged Michaels to the first Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood, in Your House. During this match, The Undertaker's storyline half-brother Kane finally made his debut under the control of Paul Bearer, ripping off the door to the cell and giving The Undertaker a tombstone piledriver, Undertaker's trademark finisher, allowing Michaels to pin him.
As the storyline progressed through Bearer, Kane challenged The Undertaker, but Undertaker consistently refused to fight his half-brother. The Undertaker's final encounter with Michaels was in a casket match at the Royal Rumble. The week before on Raw, Kane had seemed to ally with his brother against Michaels' D-Generation X. However, at the event, Kane trapped him in the coffin, padlocking the casket lid and setting it ablaze, which again gave Michaels the victory. The Undertaker, however, had disappeared when the casket lid was reopened. After a 2-month hiatus, The Undertaker returned and defeated Kane at WrestleMania 14. The two had a rematch, the first ever Inferno match, 1 month later at Unforgiven, in Your House, which The Undertaker won by setting Kane's right arm on fire. The Undertaker's feud with Mankind was concluded afterward, and they faced each other in a Hell in a Cell match at King of the Ring. During the match, The Undertaker threw Mankind off the roof of the cell onto a broadcast table below, in what was a pre-planned move.
He later performed a chokeslam on Mankind through the roof of the cell into the ring, which legitimately knocked Mankind unconscious. Mankind also used thumbtacks in the match and was hit by a back body drop and another chokeslam onto them before Undertaker won the match with the tombstone piledriver. At Fully Loaded, in Your House, The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Kane and Mankind to win the WWF Tag Team Championship.
The Undertaker and Austin's reign as tag team champions lasted for only 2 weeks, as Kane and Mankind regained the titles on the August 10th episode of Raw. The Undertaker then became the #1 contender for the renamed WWF Championship at SummerSlam, now held by Austin. Shortly before SummerSlam, however, The Undertaker revealed that he and Kane were working together as brothers.
Despite this revelation, The Undertaker told Kane that he did not want him to interfere in the match with Austin, and even though The Undertaker lost the match, he handed Austin his championship belt back after the match in a show of respect. In September, the storyline continued, and The Undertaker began to show some villainous characteristics when he and Kane revealed the fact that they were in cahoots to rid Austin of his title for Mr. McMahon.
At Breakdown, in Your House, The Undertaker and Kane were booked in a triple threat match with Austin for the WWF Championship, in which McMahon stated that the brothers were not allowed to pin each other. The Undertaker and Kane pinned Austin simultaneously after a double chokeslam, so the title was vacated by McMahon. This event led to a match at Judgment Day, in Your House, between The Undertaker and Kane for the title, with Austin as the special guest referee. Near the end of the match, Paul Bearer seemed about to assist Kane by handing him a steel chair to hit The Undertaker with. But as Kane had his back turned, both Bearer and The Undertaker hit Kane with the chair.
The Undertaker went for the pin, but Austin refused to count the fall, attacked The Undertaker, and counted out both of them. Finally, The Undertaker became a villain the next night on Raw, for the first time in over 6 years, reconciling with Bearer and claiming that he and Bearer would unleash their Ministry of Darkness on the World Wrestling Federation.
As part of this new storyline, he admitted that he had indeed set the fire that killed his parents, for which he had previously blamed Kane. The Ministry of Darkness, 1998-1999. After Survivor Series, The Undertaker returned his attention back to his previous feud with Austin for costing him the title at Judgment Day, hitting Austin in the head with a shovel during a title match with The Rock, returning the favor for what happened a month earlier.
With this twist in the storyline, McMahon scheduled a Buried Alive match between The Undertaker and Austin at Rock Bottom, in Your House. In the weeks leading up to Rock Bottom, The Undertaker attempted to embalm Austin alive, tried to have Kane committed to a mental asylum, and had his Druids chain Austin to his symbol, raising it high into the arena. However, The Undertaker lost the match after Kane interfered. After building up to his second villainous run in the latter part of 1998, The Undertaker introduced an updated version of his Deadman identity. By January 1999, the Dark Priest, who in the initial period of this persona reigned over a stable known as the Ministry of Darkness. In this form, he took on a wicked, demonic presence, much more so than ever before. He often claimed to be invoking and taking orders from a higher power. Moreover, he often appeared in a hooded black robe, and sat on a throne that was specially designed into his character symbol.
With the help of his minions, he often performed sacrifices on select WWF wrestlers, using various incantations and magic words with intent to extract out the dark side of the wrestlers in question so as to recruit them into his ministry. The completed Ministry of Darkness consisted of the Brood, the Acolytes, Midian, and Viscera. Calaway himself did not wrestle for a period, having undergone a hip replacement. As part of the angle, Undertaker expressed or desired to take control of the World Wrestling Federation, displacing its owner, Vince McMahon. These ambitions culminated into a rivalry between the Ministry and the Corporation, ultimately resulting in a match between Undertaker and Corporation enforcer Big Boss Man. The two faced off in a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania 15, which Undertaker won. At Backlash, in Your House, Undertaker defeated Corporation member Ken Shamrock after interference from Ministry member Bradshaw. Thereafter, The Undertaker kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, forcing Vince McMahon to enter into a reluctant alliance with his longtime nemesis Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Undertaker attempted to marry before sacrificing Stephanie in an eldritch ceremony conducted by Paul Bearer, but Austin was able to rescue her. At the Over the Edge pay-per-view, The Undertaker defeated Austin for his third WWF Championship with help from Shane McMahon, the special referee. The Ministry eventually merged with Shane McMahon's Corporation Alliance to form the Corporate Ministry. The Undertaker later revealed that Vince McMahon had been his higher power all along. After The Undertaker dropped the WWF Championship back to Austin following King of the Ring, and an additional loss to him in a First Blood match at Fully Loaded, his relationship with the McMahons dissolved, and the Corporate Ministry disbanded. The Undertaker then began a storyline where he teamed
with Big Show in a tag team known as the Unholy Alliance, which held the WWF World Tag Team Championship twice. After their victory at SummerSlam, The Undertaker suffered a groin tear and was seen limping in several matches.
He avoided competing in wrestling matches in the following weeks, instead tyrannically ordering Big Show to fight all his battles and oblige all his many wishes. He also began to transition away to the biker character he would play in 2000. Per an interview with Kevin Nash, this was a move to allow Calaway to enter World Championship Wrestling with a non-trademarked persona. Had he entered WCW, it would have been as Mark Calaway.
Although negotiations were described as close, he ultimately re-signed with the World Wrestling Federation to compensate for his lack of physical action. Undertaker became more vocal on the mic, often making smart-aleck remarks and providing commentary. In September 1999, on SmackDown, Mr.
McMahon threatened that he would remove Undertaker from the Unforgiven main event if he refused to participate in a casket match against Triple H. Undertaker retorted that he did not care, and maybe he would not be participating in anything, thus walking out of the WWF. In reality, Calaway went on a hiatus from the WWF in order to treat his groin injury.
On December 14, he made his return to action, teaming with Viscera in a losing effort against Kane and The Godfather at a house show in Como, Puerto Rico. The Undertaker was advertised on the Armageddon promotional poster to return, but meanwhile also tore his pectoral muscle, making him take almost 8 months out of action. American Badass 2000-2001. By his return in May 2000, The Undertaker had taken on a drastically different identity from before, as he abandoned the somber Mortician-themed attires, his funeral dirge ring music, allusions to the supernatural, and the accompanying morbid theatrics. In place of this, he took on a biker identity, riding to the ring on a motorcycle, and wearing sunglasses and bandanas to the ring. His entrance music was replaced with popular rock songs of the time, like Limp Bizkit's Rollin' and Kid Rock's American Badass, though it was accompanied by the characteristic opening bell of The Undertaker's original theme.
When Undertaker returned near the end of the Iron Man match between Triple H and The Rock at Judgment Day, he took out all the members of the McMahon-Helmsley faction, which caused him to once again be a fan favorite. He also targeted the leader, then WWF Champion Triple H. At the King of the Ring pay-per-view, The Undertaker teamed with The Rock and Kane to defeat the team of Triple H, Shane McMahon, and Vince McMahon. Afterward, he was booked to team with Kane to contend for the WWF World Tag Team Championship. They defeated Edge and Christian, earning the right to face them the following week for the championship, which Edge and Christian retained. Kane betrayed The Undertaker by hitting him with a chokeslam twice, with the second one putting The Undertaker through the ring, on the August 14 episode of Raw.
This incident led to another match between the two at SummerSlam, which ended in a no contest as Kane ran from the ring area after The Undertaker removed Kane's mask. The Undertaker then challenged Kurt Angle for the WWF Championship at Survivor Series. Angle, however, defeated The Undertaker after he switched places with his real-life brother Eric Angle. The Undertaker demanded and was awarded a spot in the six-man Hell in a Cell match for the WWF Championship at Armageddon. The Undertaker promised to make someone famous and did so when he performed a chokeslam on Rikishi from the roof of the cell. In 2001, The Undertaker reunited with Kane as the Brothers of Destruction, challenging
for the WWF World Tag Team Championship once again. They received a title shot at No Way Out, facing Edge and Christian and then champions the Dudley Boyz in a tables match. But they were not successful. The Undertaker then went on to defeat Triple H at WrestleMania X7. He and Kane continued a storyline that focused on Triple H, who formed a surprise alliance with then WWF Champion Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The Brothers of Destruction were granted an opportunity to face Triple H and Austin for their titles. After The Undertaker and Kane won the WWF World Tag Team Championship from Edge and Christian, Triple H pinned Kane after attacking him with a sledgehammer at Backlash, where the Brothers of Destruction lost their championship. With Kane injured, The Undertaker feuded briefly with Austin for his WWF Championship, but he failed to win the title at Judgment Day. As part of the Invasion storyline, The Undertaker's next nemesis was Diamond Dallas Page, who was obsessively following The Undertaker's wife, Sarah.
While they were presented as being married from the start of the storyline, in reality, Calaway and Sarah got married during the height of this feud. At SummerSlam, WCW Tag Team Champions The Undertaker and Kane defeated Page and his partner Chris Kanyon in a steel cage match to win the WWF World Tag Team Championship.
At Survivor Series, The Undertaker teamed with Kane, The Rock, Chris Jericho, and Big Show to take on the Alliance's Stone Cold Steve Austin, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, Shane McMahon, and Kurt Angle. Angle pinned The Undertaker due to interference by Austin.
Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVD Documentaries. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.